very much, Shruti, for joining us here today on NewsX World. Thank you. Top Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer has criticised US President Donald Trump's record-length State of the Union speech, calling it delusional. Schumer stated that the speech failed to address the struggles faced by ordinary Americans. He said that Americans have never seen a State of the Union so disconnected from reality. Schumer further emphasized that Trump's portrayal of America did not align with the experiences of most working Americans. We are now being joined by Ambassador Suresh Goel, who is a former Indian diplomat, joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for joining us here today on NewsX World. What does Senator Chuck Schumer's characterization of President Trump's speech as delusional reveal about the deep divide in Washington over the state of the nation and national priorities?
I think what you said really reflects the true picture of the debate in Washington at this stage in time. Is actually deep divide between the Democrats and the Republicans. And also, if we have to look at the data coming from public opinion, coming from Washington, the popularity rate of President Trump seems to be going down consistently. So that would explain really the kind of views which are coming from Democratic side. All I would say is that the differences between Democrats and Republicans, particularly in the debate on the State of the Union address, are very common. I mean, after all, these are political affairs, really speaking. But this year, particularly, the divide is very, very vociferous and rather huge. The way it is being done, I had never really heard of alternative rallies being organized to distract attention from the State of the Union address. So yes, there is a deep divide, and this divide may or may not reflect on, impact on the way President Trump functions.
And to what extent is Schumer's critique a substantive political response versus a strategic move ahead of key midterm elections, especially as Trump touted economic and security achievements that opponents dispute?
Well, yes, I think the debate will have an impact on the midterm elections. But very often we find that by the time the elections take place, if you recall, actually, even the main presidential elections, there were different kind of tenor of the debate at that time. And the elections did not actually reflect the kind of views and the debate that existed before the elections. And in this case also, yes, I would tend to agree that this kind of a debate on the strategic issues would have an impact on the midterm elections. But then ultimately the politics would take over, and the Republicans will also really weigh, they will look at the possibilities of if any change or any slide in the popularity of the election results of the Republicans, how it is going to impact on the future, the elections for the president. So therefore, I would say that I would not characterize the debate on the State of the Union as having a very decisive impact on the midterm elections. There will be some impact, but we will have to wait and see.
Yes. Thank you, but please don't go too far, as I'll be back with you very shortly. Democratic lawmakers and activists held a counter rally in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday during President Donald Trump's State of the Union address. The rally, which began an hour before Trump's speech, featured prominent senators and advocacy leaders who condemned Trump's policies. They accused the administration of spreading falsehoods and undermining democracy. Senators Chris Murphy and Chris Van Hollen pointed to what they called a state of denial in Trump's speech, highlighting rising inequality, attacks on civil liberties, and the deepening crisis in American democracy. The rally was a call to action for voters to hold the administration accountable as the president's approval ratings slip amid rising concerns over Iran and the economy. We're now being joined back by Ambassador Suresh. Thank you for joining us back here on NewsX World. How effective are simultaneous rallies and boycotts rather than traditional in-chamber protests in conveying democratic criticism of the administration policies and priorities?
I would certainly see them as more effective and having more impact. These are the kind of rallies which are being planned and held with a view to the midterm elections and building a public opinion in favor of change towards the democratic vote. So therefore, politically much more effective than just an in-chamber debate, which is really not likely to make much of a difference to the midterm vote, I would say.
Thank you, Ambassador Suresh, but please don't go too far again, as we'll be back very shortly. During his State of the Union address, US President Donald Trump claimed that Russia and China's defense systems failed during a recent operation in Venezuela. Trump asserted that advanced US military technology played a decisive role in neutralizing Russian and Chinese-made devices and defense system, allowing US forces to complete their mission with minimal resistance. He stated that these systems, including air defense radars and missile systems sourced from Russia and China, did not work during the operation. This comment highlights the ongoing competition between the US and Russia over military capabilities. Trump's remarks underline the effectiveness of US suppression tactics against foreign defense systems, raising concerns about the operational readiness of Russian and Chinese military exports. We are now being rejoined by Ambassador Suresh. Thank you for joining us again for NewsX World. How credible are assessments that Venezuela's air defense system, including China and Russian-made services and devices, were ineffective due to poor maintenance or lack of integration or operational issues rather than inherent design flaws? And why is Trump saying this now?
There have been reports immediately after the US operation in Venezuela that the Russian and the Chinese equipment which President Maduro at that time had for the defense of Venezuela did not work. There were speculations at that time that it was basically because either the equipment was not properly maintained or there were some defects in the equipment, etc., etc. But those reports have not been proved till now. They have remained a matter of speculation. It is also interesting to note that there has been, to my knowledge at least, there has been no report from the Ministry of Defense or the Defense Department of the USA about what they thought the Venezuelan defenses were like, whether it was the poor quality of equipment or what. There has been no report at all so far. Until such a report comes, which is more authentic at the level of experts, things will purely remain in the realm of assessments, speculations, etc. And therefore, I would say really that what President Trump is now saying sounds to me more like really a speculative kind of a statement rather than anything authenticated by the true state of affairs. But yes, one has to be aware of what possibly could have been. There were reports that even the president, personnel close to President Maduro, they actually did not do what they were supposed to do. They were just reports, again speculative. So there will be speculations for a long time till authentic reports are in. Till now, they are not.
And in what ways could the apparent vulnerabilities exposed in Venezuela's defense network affect China and Russia's future arms exports and diplomatic relations with recipient countries?
From what I see in the reports, most of the countries who were buying equipment from China, I cannot say the same for Russia because Russia has been deeply engaged in the war in Ukraine, but Russia has been a steady and reliable supplier of defense equipment, including to India, and there has been no cause to find anything wrong with that supply so far. So I I have not seen anywhere at all that the other countries who are buying goods from, or China and Russia are supplying to them, that they have gone back to on their orders or were finding it difficult. No, and therefore, till authentic reports come in, I don't think other countries are going to be guided by the speculations.
Thank you, Ambassador Suresh, but please don't go too far as we will be back with you shortly. We have some breaking news for you now. Iran has strongly rejected US claims about its missile program, dismissing them as big lies. The Iranian Foreign Ministry responded to US President Donald Trump's statement from his State of the Union address, which alleged that Tehran was developing missiles capable of striking the United States. Ismail Bakay, the ministry's spokesman, called the claims a repetition of big lies, stating that the allegations regarding Iran's nuclear program and ballistic missiles. We're now being rejoined again by Ambassador Suresh. Thank you for joining us back here for this breaking news. From his speech, he knew the world was watching for this, and he knew he would get a rise, I think, out of Iran about what he said. What do you think is going to happen now? Because he's saying he wants diplomacy, but at this rate, I think Iran's become a bit annoyed by it all now.
Well, I'm sure Iran is a bit jittery really with the developments because I think Iran does want to give a opportunity to diplomatic negotiations. They are going to be meeting in Geneva again to discuss Iran's nuclear program. I do not know how far will Iran go in making concessions to the USA on the nuclear program. It will be difficult for them to roll back their enrichment program to the extent that the USA wants. On the other hand, the USA, President Trump, to be more precise, has mobilized so much in the Gulf there around Iran that I would find it difficult to believe that they would withdraw without showing the strength. So the situation is rather uncertain, volatile, and rather dangerous. And I suspect some show of force would take place, but I do hope that it does not break out into a major war.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Ambassador Suresh, for joining us here today on NewsX World. Thank you so much. US President Donald Trump has set a new record for the longest ever State of the Union address. The speech was approximately 1 hour and 48 minutes, surpassing the previous record held by Bill Clinton, who spoke for 1 hour and 20 minutes in 2000. Trump also beat his own record, which he set last March, with a 1 hour 40-minute address. This makes his speech the longest before a joint session of Congress in over 60 years, as recorded by the American Presidency Project, which has been tracking speech durations since 1964. A Turkish